They said it was just a publicity stunt, some creepy guy in a cloak walking the streets of New York with a hook. But I swear to you, what I saw that night wasn't human.
I don't usually write things like this, but after last week, I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't even step outside without feeling like he's there waiting for me in the shadows. They call him the Hooked Man of New York. At first, I thought it was just another urban legend. You know how the city is, full of myths, ghosts, whispers about subway tunnels and things lurking in alleyways. Most of them fade as fast as they appear. But this one is different. It started with a few blurry TikTok videos. A tall figure in a long black cloak, hood covering his face, standing on a rooftop near Times Square, always holding a giant metal hook in his right hand. People laughed at it, called it guerrilla marketing for some horror movie, but the thing is, no studio claimed it, no campaign followed, no movie trailers, nothing. And the sightings didn't stop. The first time I saw him, it was late. I'd just gotten off work at a bar in Brooklyn. Streets were mostly empty, just that eerie quiet where you can hear your own footsteps echo off the buildings. That's when I felt it, the weight of someone's eyes on me. I turned my head, and there he was, half a block behind me, standing completely still under a flickering streetlight, cloaked, hooded, the steel curve of that hook catching the glow. I froze. He didn't move, didn't even breathe. For maybe 10 seconds, it was just me and him, locked in this silent standoff. And then, the light above him went out. When it flickered back on, he was gone. I told myself it was nothing, a trick of the light, maybe some lunatic cosplaying in the middle of the night. But 2 days later, I saw him again. This time on the subway. The train was half empty, late-night crowd. I was scrolling my phone when I noticed movement in the reflection of the darkened window across from me. He was standing at the far end of the car, still, silent, watching. No one else seemed to notice him, or if they did, they pretended not to. The strangest part? Every time I blinked, he was closer. Not walking, not moving, just closer. One blink, 20 feet away. Next blink, 10 feet away. Next blink, just a few steps. My throat closed up. My hands shook so bad I almost dropped my phone. When the train screeched into the next station, I bolted out. I didn't look back until the doors shut. And when I did, he wasn't there.
I thought maybe I was losing my mind. Lack of sleep, too much stress, urban paranoia. Until last Friday. It was around 1 a.m. I was walking home from a friend's apartment in Queens. Empty streets, the kind where the only sound is your own shoes slapping the pavement. And then I heard it. Tap, drag, tap, drag. Like metal scraping against asphalt. My chest went tight. I didn't want to look, but every nerve in my body screamed that he was there. So I turned, and I wish to God I hadn't. Halfway down the block, bathed in the sick yellow glow of a street lamp, he stood. The Hooked Man. His head tilted to the side, like he was studying me. That long hook dragging along the ground with each slow step forward. Tap, drag, tap, drag. I ran. I didn't care where. I just ran. Through intersections,
past shuttered storefronts, across red lights. My lungs burned, my legs screamed, but the sound, it followed. Tap, drag, tap, drag. No matter how fast I ran, it never grew farther away. By the time I reached my apartment building, I was shaking so badly I could barely get the key in the door. I stumbled inside, slammed the lock, pressed my back to the door, and then I heard it. Metal scraping against the other side. Like the hook was tracing the wood. I didn't move, didn't breathe. For what felt like hours, I stood there in the dark, listening, until silence. When I finally worked up the courage to look out the peephole, the hallway was empty. But I can't shake it. Because sometimes, when I close my eyes at night, I hear it again. That scraping, that dragging. And I know he's not done with me yet. This isn't marketing. It isn't a prank. The hooked man is real. And if you ever hear that sound behind you, run. After that night, I thought maybe things would calm down. That maybe, just maybe, locking the door and hiding in the dark had kept me safe. But deep down, I knew it wasn't over. You don't just see the hooked man. Once he's found you, he keeps coming back. The next day, I went online. I searched forums, late-night threads, anywhere someone might have written about him. And I found things. Old posts, buried deep on obscure message boards, stories from people across New York, stretching back decades. One guy said he saw a tall, cloaked figure in the subway tunnels when he was a teenager in the 90s. Another described a man with a hook watching him from the edge of a rooftop in the Bronx. And the creepiest one? A post from 2003. A woman claimed her brother vanished after being stalked by a cloaked man with a hook. His body was never found. The only thing left behind was a deep scratch carved into his apartment door. I stared at those words until my eyes blurred, because that was exactly what I'd heard that night. The hook scraping my door. The hooked man isn't new. He's been here for decades, maybe longer. Some people think he's the ghost of a butcher who died in a fire. Others say he was a serial killer who disappeared before the police ever caught him. But one detail was always the same. Once you saw him, you couldn't escape him. 3 nights ago, it got worse. I'd forced myself to leave the apartment just to prove I could. I told myself I wouldn't let fear chain me inside. But as I walked down my block, I noticed something. People were staring at me. Not strangers, my neighbors, the old lady who always watered her plants, the guy who smoked on the stoop. They were all out, at the same time, in the same silence, and every single one of them was looking at me, with the same dead, glassy eyes I'd seen under that hood. I froze, my skin crawled, and then in perfect unison, they all turned their heads. Not toward me, but toward the alley at the end of the street. I didn't want to look, but I did. And there he was, tall, cloaked, hook glinting faintly under the streetlight. I bolted. I didn't even think. I just ran back inside, slammed the door, and shoved a chair under the handle. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Just one word. Run. That night, I barely slept. Every sound made me jump.
the hum of the fridge, the creak of the floorboards, the pipes groaning, each one sounded like him. When morning came, I thought maybe I was safe. Sunlight has a way of making nightmares seem smaller. But then I saw it. On my window, carved deep into the glass, a single word written in jagged strokes. Mine.
He wasn't just following me. He was claiming me. Last night was the worst. I woke up at 2:46 a.m., not to a sound, not to a nightmare, but to silence. A silence so heavy it pressed down on my chest. I sat up, holding my breath, and then I saw it. From the crack under my bedroom door, a shadow. Someone was standing in the hallway. I grabbed the baseball bat I keep under my bed, crept forward, and yanked the door open. But the hallway was empty. Empty, except for the trail. Long, thin scratches carved deep into the floorboards. They led from my front door to my bedroom, and they stopped right where I was standing. I don't know how much longer I can take this. I've tried leaving the city, but every time I pack my bags, something happens. A knock at the door with no one there, my phone buzzing with static. Once, I swore I heard breathing in the backseat of my car. He doesn't want me to leave. And maybe that's the worst part, because deep down, I think I understand now. The hooked man isn't some ghost or killer. He's something older, something that feeds on fear. Every scream, every sleepless night, every pounding heartbeat, that's what keeps him here. And the moment I stop being afraid, I think that's when he'll finally take me. So, if you ever hear it, that sound, tap, drag, tap, drag. Don't turn around. Don't look. Because once you do, you'll never stop seeing him.